Senator, we're here to talk about the Department of Justice and my budget for the upcoming year. Senator, it is wildly offensive that you would accuse President Trump of not protecting American interests in our country when he is the president that has shut down our borders, unlike Joe Biden. President Trump has done everything to make America safe, and you asked me the question, and keep America safe.
Do you
and
know
you're trying to play a gotcha question at a budget hearing when you have murders left and right in your state, violent crimes, and we are doing everything we can to help your liberal state. Whether you're liberal or not, we're going to do everything we can to help the citizens of your state, and you're trying to avoid that because you're trying to play a gotcha question with the President of the United States, and it's not going to work. We're here to talk about our budget for public safety.
In today's explosive Senate hearing, Attorney General Pam Bondi wasn't just answering questions, she was setting the record straight. While the American people demand action on crime, fentanyl, and border chaos, one Democrat senator seemed more interested in pushing bizarre conspiracy theories about meme coins and dinners. What followed was a fiery, no-nonsense takedown from Bondi that left the hearing room stunned. Buckle up. It started with what should have been a routine budget hearing for the Department of Justice, but instead, the Democrat senator veered sharply off topic, diving into conspiracy-laced questions about President Trump's so-called meme coin dinner. He asked whether foreign nationals attended a dinner linked to Trump's crypto supporters and claimed it was a national security issue. Let's dive right in.
I want to know if when the president held his dinner for 220 individuals who purchased the most of his meme coins, were there foreign interests attending that dinner?
Senator, we're here to talk about the Department of Justice and my budget for the upcoming year. I would think that you would want to talk about the leader of the Sinaloa cartel who was living in Oregon, one of the top leaders. I would think that that's what you would want to talk about with me. When we captured him, he had $3 million cash in his home.
Attorney General, I know that you avoided the same question on the House side. But what we know is that many folks who attended this dinner were buying those coins because they wanted to influence U.S. policy. We had Mr. Javier Selgas, the head of Freight Technology, Inc., who said, I bought $2 million of these coins. I plan to buy $20 million because I want a favor from the president to change the policy regarding freight from Mexico to the United States. This solicitation of investments in his personal product, his meme coin, led to many people who were coming from foreign countries attending that dinner. Don't you think the American people have a right to know? And you said yourself you're very concerned about foreign influence on our government.
Senator, it is wildly offensive that you would accuse President Trump of not protecting American interests in our country when he is the president that has shut down our borders, unlike Joe Biden. President Trump has done everything to make America safe, and you asked me the question, and keep America safe.
Do you
and
know
you're trying to play a gotcha question at a budget hearing when you have murders left and right in your state, violent crimes, and we are doing everything we can to help your liberal state. Whether you're liberal or not, we're going to do everything we can to help the citizens of your state, and you're trying to avoid that because you're trying to play a gotcha question with the President of the United States, and it's not going to work. We're here to talk about our budget for public safety.
I do believe that as the leader of the Department of Justice, you should be concerned about foreign influence. There was obviously a lot of foreign influence and individuals who said they were there for that reason. And so will you appoint a special investigator to make sure that that foreign influence does not affect the policies of the United States of America?
I'm not going to tell you what I will or will not do, other than I will do everything to keep the people of your state safe, even though you don't want to talk about anything to do with your state because of the crime in your state. You also voted no on the Laken Riley Act. We are doing everything we can to protect the citizens of this country. You also said that President Trump encouraged protest. It was the opposite. He's done everything he can to keep us safe, and he will continue to, as well as the Department of
It speaks
Justice.
volumes that you won't answer the question about transparency when the president is asking people to invest in his company and his products, and that foreigners are attending these events. I think transparency would be appropriate. Are you going to recommend any ethics guidelines to make sure that foreign influence does not find its way in through the doors of the White House?
How do you characterize foreigners, the illegal aliens that have flowed into our country? Is that who you're talking about? You don't want to talk about them. You don't want to talk about the crime that has gone rampant throughout this country and your state.
Well, you know, these hearings are a chance for us to ask questions, and I assure you I'm engaged in national security in many, many ways. But this also I am concerned about, and let me turn to a different piece of the puzzle, because the president also has another cryptocurrency called USD1. It is a stable coin. There was a request by UAE to produce AI chips that would go to UAE. The National Security Advisor of UAE is also the CEO of MGX. So after that request for those chips occurred, MGX then said, we will buy 2 billion, billion with a B, of the president's coins. And then the president went to the Middle East and said, we will get you those AI chips. Does this sequence of events in which a foreign government asked for a big favor, and we had previously banned these chips to UAE because of the national security concerns. Then they buy $2 billion of the president's coins, and then the president goes to the Middle East and says, we will provide those chips. Does that sequence of events concern you about foreign influence on the United States of America?
The foreign influence on America that I would be concerned about if I were you was the Mexican national that resided in Oregon, who we just arrested, who had 384 pounds of methamphetamine. The foreign individual who I would be concerned about if I were a senator from Oregon is the Honduran drug trafficker who was residing in Portland for distributing fentanyl. The foreign national I would be concerned about if I was a Portland senator, an Oregon senator, is a Mexican national leader of a drug trafficking ring. Another one, fentanyl, firearms, fatal overdoses, all in your state.
In a hearing meant to focus on public safety and the Department of Justice's mission to protect Americans, Attorney General Pam Bondi found herself confronted by a partisan spectacle, a senator obsessed with fringe theories and desperate to score political points at the expense of truth. But Pam Bondi didn't flinch. She rose above the noise. With composure and confidence, she called out the absurdity of the questions and refused to allow the hearing to be hijacked by political grandstanding. While the senator fixated on Trump's meme coin and conspiracy-driven tales of foreign dinners, Bondi redirected the conversation to what actually matters: stopping fentanyl from killing thousands of Americans, dismantling drug trafficking rings, and cracking down on violent crime across the country. She didn't just defend President Trump, she defended the American people. She reminded the committee that under President Trump's leadership, the borders were secured, cartels were disrupted, and the Justice Department was focused on real threats, not crypto speculation. Bondi's message was clear: America is facing a crisis, and now is not the time for distraction. She challenged the senator's priorities, exposed the hypocrisy of ignoring the crime epidemic in his own state, and laid out the facts in no uncertain terms. Foreign influence? It's not found in meme coins. It's found in the unchecked flow of illegal drugs, weapons, and criminals flooding across the border, harming communities from Oregon to Alaska. What sets Pam Bondi apart is her refusal to play the political game. She's committed to protecting all Americans, regardless of party, state, or ideology. Even when met with disrespect, she remained focused, professional, and unshakable. That's leadership. In a time when far too many politicians are more interested in headlines than solutions, Pam Bondi is doing the hard work. She's putting results over rhetoric, truth over theatrics, and public safety over politics. And that's exactly the kind of leadership America needs right now. While some senators chase headlines, Bondi is chasing criminals. And the American people can see the difference. If you're ready to stand with truth, law, and order and leaders who fight for real Americans, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications.